Welcome to Real World Real Estate, where we will explore, examine, and explain the real process of buying or selling real estate. Here is your host, Stephen Clyde.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Real World Real Estate. I'm Stephen Clyde, your host with Team Clyde Realtors at RE/MAX Preferred and RE/MAX at Cherry Hill. Thank you for joining us on our weekly market update. So today we're going to talk about a phenomenon that we're seeing across the entire country. I'm definitely seeing it in our market here. And that's what we call a multiple offer situation or a bidding war or highest and best. I've seen it called final and best, although I don't agree with that term necessarily. But this is essentially where more than one buyer want the house at the exact same time, and the seller is going to pit you against each other. There may be two buyers looking at the same house at the same time making offers. There may be 20. I've been in both of those situations. And what you want to do as a buyer is position yourself so that you're the highest and best offer. And remember, there's two terms there that I'm throwing out. Highest, well, that would be the sales price, and best, and that would be all the other terms associated with the offer. On the highest part, obviously, you only want to go so high. You have a budget, there's appraisal issues, there's valuation issues, there's your mortgage requirements. So we're limited there, but we have a lot more flexibility in the non-monetary terms of the price or the offer, right? That we're not talking about the price, we're talking about other terms and conditions in the offer. This could be increasing your deposit, right? You were going to put down $5,000. Now you're going to put down $20,000 as initial deposit. This doesn't cost you anything because it's going to be part of your down payment anyway. So this is a non-expense that helps make your offer look stronger. Maybe instead of demanding a 3-week closing, you make it at the seller's discretion. So you give them flexibility and let them make the decision on the settlement. Maybe they haven't found the house yet. Maybe they need a little bit more time. Maybe they've lived there for the last 30 years and they got a lot of stuff to get out of that house, right? And 3 weeks just doesn't work and makes them antsy. So they go to the person that says 45 days. By you putting it at their discretion, again, we're trying to move you up the list on the rank. Maybe you shorten your inspection period or your contingency period for your mortgage. Make sure that you have a pre-approval from your mortgage company over a pre-qualification. Big difference between the two pieces of paper, right? Pre-qualification is just a verbal communication between you and a loan officer. They ran your credit. They ask you how much you made. They asked you how much you had in the bank, and then they ran those numbers real quick, but they took you at your word on everything. They didn't verify anything. Whereas a pre-approval would be you've gone through the process with the loan officer and the lender. They've looked at your tax returns. They've looked at your bank statements. They've seen your paychecks. They've verified everything. They know everything is good. They're willing to approve everything based off of this price, these taxes, whatever their conditions to you may be. That's a stronger piece of paper than the pre-qualification. Also, writing a letter to the seller explaining why you want to live in their home, why you want to live in their neighborhood, why you love their home. Right now, we're going to play on the emotional side of it. At the same time, your agent should be writing not so much a letter, but should be attaching to the offer why you're the best buyer for this house. And that could be going into your job security, right? Especially in these uncertain times. That's a big deal right now when we're reviewing offers on our properties. Does this buyer in a job situation that we don't have to worry about furloughs or layoffs or pay cuts as we're going through COVID-19, as we're concerned about possibly a second wave? Or is this someone that works for a company that they may be laid off in the next 3 weeks, or they may get a pay cut? It's a big deal to a seller. So it's not just the high number, it's the highest number I can get that'll actually make it to the settlement table, because those are important things. So make sure your agent presents you in the best possible light. As a listing agent, I've seen phenomenons where a buyer's agent will send me an offer via email, but they'll never call me, they'll never text me, they'll never communicate with me that they sent that. Well, if I don't know it was sent to me and their email ended up in my spam folder, that buyer's offer never got reviewed and never got seen. So make sure your agent is picking up the phone. Technology is great and it streamlines our life, but we have to go old school sometimes. So make sure your agent is picking up that phone, calling that listing agent, letting them know that the offer is been sent, reviewing the bullet points of your offer. Again, giving them the highlights as to why you're the best agent. And hopefully they develop some rapport or already have a good relationship with that listing agent. Again, you want to do everything you can to make sure your offer looks the best to the other side. You're not going to be there to sell it yourself. You're not going to be there to pitch it yourself. You're only going to get one shot at this. So make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. You've got that pre-approval. You've got your letter in place. You've got your proof of funds to show them, right? Your agent is communicating with the listing agent. And then we have to write the offer. So make sure we look at those terms of the offer that doesn't cost us anything. The inspection time frame, the mortgage commitment time frame, the settlement time frame, the amount of the deposit or multiple deposits, however you're going to do it. Then when it comes to price, you need to sit down, and your agent really can't help you here. We can review the comps with you and let you know what the true value of the house is and where we think it's going to appraise. But when it comes to what you're willing to pay for this house to make it your home, that's something you have to come up with on your own, right? That's your own soul searching. The advice I give my buyers when we're in this situation is to sit down, really think about it, and come up with a dollar amount that if I came back to them and asked them for $500 more, they would say no and walk away with no regrets. That way we know that we put our best number out there. Because what you don't want to do is have this deal and this bidding war and this house haunt you moving forward if you don't get it. If you put that number out there and you really knew in the back of your mind you were willing to spend another $2,000, but you didn't put it on the table, then when it goes to settlement and you see that you lost it by $500, that's going to haunt you forever. It's not going to go away. Don't hold back. Put that number on that dollar amount on the table on the offer is the amount you're willing to pay for the house, but that's the max amount. Again, if someone came to you and said, okay, you can have the house, but it's going to cost you $500 more, you should have already given the number that at $500, you're going to walk away without a regret because that was your best number. Be prepared for this. Be ready. Start thinking about it in advance. I've been out with clients and we've already lost multiple offer situations. And, the last house we looked at, it just hit the market. We put a full price offer in within an hour of it coming on the market. And the hopes was that we would lock it up so quickly that we wouldn't have to pay anymore. It turns out, even though the seller signed the contracts, we went under contract, which is what we say in New Jersey, we don't open escrow. During our attorney review phase, which is 3 business days after we sign it, other offers came in. Now, when the initial offer came in from another buyer, the seller rejected it and stayed with us. It was $5,000 more than ours, but the seller felt comfortable staying with my buyer and my client, and they weren't willing to tear everything up over $5,000. By the time the next offer came in, that differential had gone up to $15,000. Well, now the seller wanted to renegotiate with us, which he did. Now, he didn't make us come all the way up. We gave him $12,500 and he was willing to stay with us, and we stayed on the contract, and, it worked out, and we're going to settlement this coming Friday or tomorrow, actually. But even though the contract was signed, we still had to deal with the highest and best situation. We were prepared for it. We didn't want it to come. We didn't want to do it, but we had our ducks in a row and we were ready for it if it did come. And that's where you have to be. Don't be surprised by this. Don't be surprised if 2 or 3 of the first houses that you want to buy, you end up losing in this situation. Not every buyer situation is the same. You may be making adjustments because you want to update the kitchen, or you want to update the bath, or you want to put new hardwood floors in, or you feel like it needs a new HVAC. So you're making adjustments on how much you're willing to offer on the house based off those things you think it needs. Well, one of the other buyers, those items may not be a concern for them, so they're not calculating those into their offer. So again, come up with a number that is the max you're willing to pay for that house to make it your home. Make sure you've got your financials in order, the mortgage in order. You've gone over all the other offer terms with with your agent to present to the seller. And in consulting with your agent, you've structured those terms so that they're the best they can be. All right. Once you're both satisfied with it, have it submitted. Make sure your agent is calling the listing agent, leaving them a message, or hopefully talking to them directly, right? Because now it's time to sell, right? When I make that phone call to one of my counterparts and I'm representing the buyer, I'm letting them know the offer's coming. I'm giving them the bullet points on the offer. I'm confirming that this is a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. I'm selling the mortgage to them, how strong it is. I'm selling my buyer's income and employment situation to them. I'm selling me, and I'm selling, right? I want that other agent, him or her, to come off that phone call already leaning in my client's direction, right? So that the other agents have to bring him back to them. I want him already over to our side. I want him working for us if we can. But listen, we're all human. So if I can get him leaning in my direction because he feels more comfortable with me and my client, that's how they're going to present it to their client, right? So we're all human. So we want him in our side, giving a perspective that we're the best for his client. Again, we're going to see this phenomenon for a long time to come. It's not going away overnight. It's definitely not going away when COVID-19 goes away, hopefully. We're going to continue to have an inventory shortage. We have population growth that is exceeding our supply, and we have no way to provide that supply at the same pace that the population is growing. We had an inventory shortage going into this crisis. We have a greater inventory shortage now. And anyone looking in the suburbs is going to run into a new phenomenon that we're coming into thanks to COVID-19. And that's the exodus out of the major cities into the suburbs. As people have been quarantined in their apartments in Manhattan, in Philadelphia, in Boston, in Chicago, doesn't matter what major city in the United States, realizing that during the quarantine, they were locked in. They didn't have as much space as they thought they had once they're spending 24/7 there. And they were starting to go a little stir crazy. They had no outside space to go enjoy. They had no space if it's a family, gets to separate from each other a little bit. So we're seeing the phenomenon now that they're moving or looking to move from the city into the suburbs. We already have an inventory shortage, and now we have new buyers that weren't in the game 3 months ago that are coming in. We're seeing it in North Jersey, people leaving Manhattan to come into Jersey. South Jersey, we're seeing it with people coming out of Philadelphia in the South Jersey. The suburbs of Philadelphia are seeing it. And every major city and metropolitan area in the United States is seeing the exact same phenomenon. And this is brand new. This was brought on by COVID-19. So be prepared, right? I've shown up to show a house to clients, and there are 8 realtors and clients lined up waiting to go in. Again, be ready. When you see it, you don't really have time to think about it. You need to get that offer in right away. That being said, if you have any questions or concerns, or you want a little input into how to structure these offers, feel free to contact us at Team Clyde Realtors on Instagram and Facebook, or you can email me, Stephen, STEPHEN, at teamclyde.com, and we'll answer your questions for you. If you need the referral to a good lender or a strong, top-rated agent in your area, we have that network in place. Reach out to us. We'll make sure we'll hook you up with the right professional and someone that can take care of you and is qualified and experienced to do so. Again, everyone stay safe and healthy out there. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Take care. Stephen Clyde, and talk to you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. If you would like any additional information, please contact us at Team Clyde Realtors on Instagram or Facebook, or you can send us an email at Steven@TeamClyde.